Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this, our second general meeting for the academic year 2021-2022. I'm your host, Nicolay Gunn.
And I am Kibishi Kennedy.
Now, we just want to say a grand welcome to our freshmen, of course, and also our returning students. Now, without you, this would not have been possible. For those who are worrying about exams and final projects coming, don't worry, because we are DCS. We are the best. 3.5 and nothing less.
Right. So we want you all to follow us on our socials. On YouTube at DCS NCU TV, on Instagram, DCS_NCU, and on Facebook, DCS at NCU. Now we will now go into our devotion, where the scripture reading is taken from 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 11.
And it reads, "Therefore encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing."
But before we go any further into the program, Nicolay,
Yes.
we must invite the Spirit of the Lord.
Indeed.
With that said, let us pray. Most righteous and eternal Father, we just want to thank you for everything that you have been doing for us and what you are going to do for us, Lord. I ask that as we continue this program, it will go as planned, Lord. Be with the technical team. And for those who have not yet signed on to YouTube to watch us, Lord, hasten their clickability, Lord. Forgive us of our sins. In your name I pray. Amen. Now, so for this month's general meeting, it is focused on personal accountability and branding. And I'm just going to give you a little rundown of what the program is like today. So we will have two guest presenters, Janielle Lambert-Salmon and Miss Patricia Grant, after which we will have some promo videos being played. And then after, we have the C notes by our lovely chair, Miss Noreen Daly. But before we do so, though, I'll just do the introduction of Miss Janielle Lambert-Salmon. Now, Miss Lambert is a senior communications consultant for digital marketing at the Jamaica Promotions Corporation. She's a past student of DCS, and I must say she was the Burgundy Jacket holder for the academic year 2013-2014. Are you hearing us, Miss Lambert-Salmon?
I am.
Awesome
I
stuff.
am.
You can go right ahead.
All right, so hello all of you who have tuned in to the second general meeting for the DCS family. It's really a pleasure to be here sharing with you. And as I'm about to do that, I'm reflecting on my journey, sitting where you are now sitting, being coached on personal branding, accountability. And I'm just really delighted to be in this spot, to be sharing with you on this very important topic. I know that majority of our audience members, they're on YouTube. Before we get deep into the subject matter, rest assured I won't be long. I'll be sharing with you for about 10 minutes max. However, it's going to be more of a reflective session. So you have to cooperate with me, all right? It's not a presentation. It's more a reflection on the brand called you. That's the topic of the presentation today, of the discussion, the brand called you. So where you is, I want you to insert your name. So the brand called Janielle, the brand called Noreen, the brand called Patricia. How really and truly, how does that brand stack up against others? But before we get there, I have a little activity for you who are online. So you're simply just going to drop your comment in the chat. Drop your comment in the chat. That's all you're going to do. So we have a few brands here. I hope our production team can project perfect. So we have 4 brands here. When you see brand A, what comes to mind? The first word that comes to mind. Drop it in the chat real quick. We're not going to linger here. What comes to mind when you see brand A? How about brand B? What comes to mind? And I'm going to also invite our hosts, seeing that your responses will be more immediate. What comes to mind when you see brand A? Brand B? How about brand C? Brand D, what comes to mind? Talk to me. I see you both smiling there. What comes to mind? Puma. When you hear Puma, when you see Puma's logo.
Sports come to mind.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt.
Sport.
You know?
Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Colgate?
White
My
teeth.
teeth. Yes, ma'am. How about brand C? Kevin Smith. What comes to mind?
Colt.
Colt. All right, fair enough.
Sacrifices.
A liar, maybe. Yeah, a liar. Okay.
All right.
Biggest fan artist.
There. What about brand D?
Inspirational.
Aha.
Yes.
That's
Jamaican girl.
Oh,
Right?
Terry Carell.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Terry Carell.
Personal branding comes to mind.
Personal branding.
Yeah, she talks a lot about personal branding.
She does. So let's talk about personal branding for a little bit. Now, Jeff, we know the leader of Amazon, the CEO, Jeff Bezos. He says, and this phrase is always repeated. Listen, he says, your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room, what they say behind your back. I wish I knew those two ladies' name, or these 10 people who are online. What do people say about you when you are not in the room? Remember, we're talking about the brand called you. As I asked you that question, I'm taken back to an experience. Just got a job. And a part of this job, of course, you have onboarding. And just to ensure that new employees are ushered in really nicely in the general staff, they have a program, a buddy system, they call it. You, of course, because it's a buddy system, you're assigned a buddy, and that person really checks on you in the morning, checks on you during the day to see how things are going, that kind of thing. Now, I was assigned a buddy. And before I met this buddy, she digged deep into my past. She digged deep into my branding. She Googled me. Luckily, my digital footprints were positive, you know? And so she found out some things about me. And during our initial face-to-face conversation, she was able to tell me I went to NCU, I was DCS Burgundy Jacket, I was a debater, all these things, because of the online branding. But of course, branding does not only reside online. Of course not. When we talk about branding, we're talking about what do you stand for? How is that reflected in your actions? How is that reflected in your speech? How is that reflected in the way you dress? How is that reflected in every single thing you do? How are your values reflected? So again, I am going to direct your attention to the PowerPoint presentation. And I have a formula for you, a very simple formula. Your personal brand is the equivalent of your actual value, so what you stand for, and your perceived value. What are we talking about? Personal branding is not just who you are, who you think you are, authentically. Who am I at the core? Who is Janiel at the core? If that was the only thing that concerned personal branding, we would all have great brands, superb brands. However, personal branding goes a step further. And the step further that it goes is to take into consideration the perception of others about you. So we're going to do a little exercise. Those of you in the chat, I invite you to do this introspection. It's very crucial. What I want you to do is to think about and be honest. Think about it critically. Who am I? Who am I? So imagine you have a sheet of paper, you have 3 columns. The first column, who am I? What motivates me? And remember, what we're doing is a personal branding audit here, similar to what businesses do about when they are auditing their own brand, what Colgate do, what BMW, all those big brands. This is what they sit in the boardrooms and do. Who is Tanasha? Who is Noreen? Who is Janielle? Who is Kim? Who am I at the core? What motivates me? What characteristics do people generally compliment me about? And then we move on to the second column. Who do people say I am? So I know authentically who I am. But does that translate? Does it align with who people say I am? And then, of course, the third column, which perhaps is one of the most important. What do I want to be known for? All these 3 components, DCS family, they contribute to your personal branding. Why? It takes into consideration who you are currently. How you talk, how you dress, what are your actions, those things. What are you doing currently? What is your conduct currently? Then it mixes and it blends with who do people say I am? So I think I'm a strong woman. I think I am a bright spark. But do other people say that I am that? You know what I'm saying? And if there's a disconnect, then it means we have to address a little transparency issue there. Then, of course, your branding is not static, it's fluid. Your personal brand will change over time as you go along this journey of self-discovery. And so the next column deals with that. What do I want to be known for? What do I want to be known for? Do I want to be known as the best journalist? Do I want to be known as the best strategic home specialist? And based on that vision that you have for yourself, that brand vision that you have for yourself, it will determine how you shift things up a bit. And branding, you'll find from time to time that you'll have to shift the way you perform, shift your conduct a little bit, even shift up some friends a little bit based on the vision of the personal brand that you are hoping to achieve for yourself. Now, when you determine what you want to be known for, ladies and gents, this is really where the cookie crumbles, because this is you basically going into the future, stepping into the future. It's something like a vision board, forecasting where you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years, and the attributes that are aligned to those things that you want to be known for. And if you recognize that those attributes are missing, they're not quite paralleling what you're doing now, then you know the steps, or you should now seek to know what steps you ought to take in order to align what you want to be known for and what you are currently known for. In addition to that, a huge part of personal branding, of course, is reflective. So it requires a lot of introspection. A huge part of that reflection is to assess your network. Network. And it takes me back to, and I'm sure you all know this little adage, show me a company, I tell you who you are. It's very difficult for someone to classify you as a thief, for example. if you are surrounding yourself with honest people, and the opposite is also true. It's going to be a little difficult for someone to classify you as honest if all you do is surround yourself with thieves, right? It goes without saying. It's rational. It's a rational assumption. It might not be true, but the perception would essentially go before you. Your perception, the perception that others have of you, of your personal brand, will usher you in even before you know it. People will know that X stands for Y, you stand for Y, based on the network that you have. And this is nothing new under the sun. It's something that would have been repeated from centuries ago. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you are looking to build and to strengthen your personal brand, it means we have to check out some of those people in our circles. We have to know, not think about, and I had this experience, not think about, oh, but I knew this one from I was in grade 6. And we would have been traveling life's journey together. But somewhere along the journey, you recognize that, hey, we are no longer on the path, on the same trajectory. And so what we have to do, we just have to shift things up a bit. Why are we doing this? We're going to get to that in a moment. A huge part of personal branding is consistency. Consistency. It's huge. Imagine if Colgate, for example, of course, Colgate is known for beautiful white teeth, oral health. But imagine if Colgate somehow, some news comes out that, listen, Colgate is acting against its brand identity. It's not consistent. You're not going to ever believe Colgate with 100%. No, because there is no consistency. If a research comes out and God forbid, it has proven that Colgate, it instead of promoting oral health, it does the opposite. It means it's not consistent. And perhaps it's just that one case, and we've seen this time and time again. The same thing goes for our personal brand. The same thing goes for the brand called you. Consistency is important. So essentially, you cannot be good at time management today and procrastinate for the rest of the month. You cannot be outspoken for 2 days out of a week and hope that your personal brand is going to be aligned with someone who is outspoken. Consistency is really the glue that holds your personal brand together. When we talk about consistency, we cannot ignore accountability. Huge part of personal branding. Accountability speaks to the fact that absolutely no one is in charge of your brand but you. Absolutely no one is in charge of your brand but you. So the achievement, your success, your failures as well, your hiccups, your kinks, absolutely no one can fix those, can address those, but you. You are the driver of your brand. And if you find yourself allowing someone else to drive your brand, then you're in a huge problem, because it means that you are not in control of what happens. If you find yourself passing off as well the responsibility of strengthening your brand, if you see yourself passing off the responsibility of how things are shaped in your life, it means that your brand is in huge problems, because that accountability component is missing. When we talk about consistency and brand accountability, it sweeps us directly into the realm of footprints. We call it brand footprints. And when we talk about footprints, we know we're talking about the evidence that you're leaving behind. We're talking about the legacy. We're talking about the history, your personal history. And don't think about history as, 20 years from now. No. When we talk about footprints, we're talking primarily, and in this context, especially in the digital age, we're talking about digital footprints. I remember when I was at NCU, and in addition to, brand consistency, accountability, and the perception that people have of you, that melting pot that creates the brand, your personal brand, we were exposed to digital footprints. And in that same period, I remember vividly, we had a party for a friend, a very close friend of ours. And tertiary students were just having fun, having a good time. And some of us were dancing and photos were captured. And I remember getting a call from a particular person. And she said to us, this does not look good. Think about it. You're on your way out of university. And if these images were to reach in front of your employers, would it reflect good on you? Would it? And I mean, it was nothing out of the ordinary. We were just dancing, having a good time. But she had a point. Because now more than ever, we see employers who are asking for your social media who are asking if you're on particular social media networks, LinkedIn, Instagram, asking for your username, your handles. And what do you think they do? Of course, they just punch it in just to see if they can get to know you. It's perhaps innocent. Get to know you before they actually shortlist you or call you in for an interview. So imagine if those footprints you leave, those footprints are not aligned to the vision that you would have placed on your resume or the vision that you have in your minds of yourself. If they don't align, then something is amiss. The transparency of your brand is in turmoil. And we don't want that for ourselves. We also, when we talk about personal branding, we also have to not see branding as something that is what it is now is set in stone. So perhaps I'm talking to you now and you're thinking, boy, my brand not so hot at all. My brand need a little shifting. Perhaps this is you. Perhaps it's a case where you're saying, my brand not so bad, but I can see a little area here and a little area there where we can improve, where I can improve and strengthen my brand. Perhaps that's you. Great news abounds. Your brand is not static at all. Your brand is fluid. It's flexible. And so you also have the opportunity right now, the 26th of October, to make a commitment to strengthen your brand and to be the driver of your brand. You know what you want to be. You know what you want to be known as. And because you have this knowledge, there's absolutely no one who is in a better position than you to determine how to craft your brand. And how do you do this? I spoke about the network. That's an easy step. The way you carry yourself, not only the way you carry yourself, but the way you execute your task as well. So you're in a group, you have a group work, and you're not pulling your weight. If that is you, then you know exactly what you need to do. If you want to position your brand as someone who is a communicator, a DCS person, right? Then you're not good at communicating effectively, then you also know what to do. There are tools online, you have debating, there are so many things, but the truth is, your brand is not going to fix itself. You have to ensure that you take tangible, real, practical steps. Access tools, speak to persons who are good in the areas that you want to improve on. And in that way, you will be able, without a shadow of a doubt, through consistent effort and accountability, you will be able to improve and strengthen your brand, leaving positive footprints, whether digital or offline footprints, so that when your brand precedes you or when you're not in the room, your brand will speak volume. I do hope that you would have garnered even a little nugget from this sharing. But if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I would be more than happy to see how we can talk through them, talk about them. Thank you for
Thank you so much, Mrs. Salmon, and thank you so much for coming and reminding us what our brand is. And you know, Nicolay, yes. One thing that, one of the, I took one sentence from what Mrs. Salmon said. You know what that is? She said, absolutely no one is in charge of your brand but you. That hit me for six. It hit me for six. But moving right along, we just want to thank you again, Mrs. Salmon, for coming and sharing with us. For my fellow DCSers, giving you a challenge. I want you to drop in the chat what you think branding is, or tell us what is your branding. And in the meantime, I'm going to put my co-host on the spot as well. Okay. Nicolay, yes. What is your branding?
You know, Kivishi, I struggle with this, but I have a brand vision. Okay. Now, Mrs. Salmon outlined brand vision. And I just want to be there. I want to be that person that supports. I want to be that person that is always just there for persons. And with that, I can prepare myself to get higher education, so I can always have the money to support persons with different events, just like baby showers and those type of stuff. I can give their gifts, and not only that, but when persons are down, to encourage them, you know, and to be a happy person, you know, be a happy person.
That's what is important. Being happy is important, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Moving right along. All right, so up next we have videos, some promo videos that will be played, and we will do that right now.
It's small, little but Talawa. Small but packing a big punch. The DCS pins are amazing and add newness to your attire. The intricate design and creativity makes it a must-have. And how about some burgundy? Not that one, this! The new and improved DCS burgundy shirts are a must-have. You're already outstanding, so why not stand out? DCS pins cost $500, while shirts cost $3,200. Get yours at the DCS office today.
Fabian Legister tells us more.
The DCS Media Apprenticeship Program, or MAP, provides students with more opportunities for real-time, real-world practical experience in the field of media. This program will undoubtedly give participants an edge over their peers. The total hours in the program is 100 hours that will be spread over a 3-year period beginning in your second year. That's 100 hours of competencies not taught in a classroom. Don't sit expecting things to fall into your lap. Sign up for MAP.
And that's it for Frontline Business. I'm Amoy Harriet.
So stand by. Thank you for joining us back, ladies and gentlemen. We will now turn over to our lovely chair, Miss Noreen Daly, for the C notes.
I said it last week and I'll say it again. They have a tendency to gas me up, but you know, I love it. I love the affirmation. I have 2 quick reminders. Pre-registration started yesterday. There are some of you who continue to try to do courses not in the correct sequence. How do I know this? Because I keep getting that prereq override request. You have a check sheet, ladies and gentlemen. please check it. You cannot be in your second year and trying to do a third year course. You can't be in your third year technically, but yet you still have first and second year courses. It is not about the length of time you've been here, it's the amount of credits that you've completed and the courses that you've done. And lastly, the MAP program. The MAP program, the Media Apprenticeship Program, was started in 2017. It is a way of allowing you to get extra hands-on training. It is optional. It's not mandatory, but we're going to encourage you to do it. You saw 3 individuals in that promo just now, Trisha Gay Kelly, Fabian Legister, and Amoy Harriet. But there are others who actually did some work for Sportsmax. So we couldn't highlight everybody, but it's just to give an idea that things are happening. Opportunities present themselves. Be open to those opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for C Notes. See you next month.
I want to leave my footprints on the sands of time. Know there was something there till I died. And know that I had something in somebody's life. The hearts I have touched will be the proof that I leave, that I made a difference, and this world will see I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did, I've done everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did, I've done everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. I just want them to know that I gave my all, I did my best. I brought someone some happiness, left this world a little better just because I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did, I've done everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did, I've done, I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I was here.
Now that was a Dookie Bruce with I Was Here. Now that was exceptional.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Vocals. No. Now, just to reiterate a little of what Miss Daly said about doing courses in a particular sequence. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just one thing I have to say now. If you don't want to stay here longer than you should, just do it. Okay? Now,
right
up
thing.
next, Nicolay, on our program we have
a poem.
by Mr.
Cuff.
Good afternoon, DCS family. I'm going to be doing a freestyle about focus. I know things and times have been really discouraging. Sometimes it's confusing. And even as we watch the news and we see some of the things that are happening, there are a lot of distractions out there. But I just want to remind somebody to focus, and when you focus, at the end of the day, you shall be victorious, alright? With everything that's happening in the world, sometimes you get confused by a certain boy or a girl, but then when you stop and you think about the reality that exists, should you waste your life on just one whim or fancy or gist? Should you get so caught up in what's happening all around, or should you focus on things that are above the ground? Are we really supposed to get caught up in what's happening on this earth, or are we supposed to be focusing on something that has more worth? Yes, you have to get an education, you have to do your best, but do we realize that there is a lot more things happening that is a test? Do we realize that there is a spiritual war and there is a contest, and your aim, your goal should be to come out the best? As pure gold, strong, bold, not cold as the world would have us be. Because guess what? You see, you as a king or you as a queen, you need to be somebody that has never been seen before. You need to be somebody who has grace galore. You need to be somebody who makes the world better. Sadly, many of us are being like fetters. We are binding people and we're making them worse. We're making people think not about blessings but about curse. No, not you. Could never be true. Maybe me, because guess what? No matter what, at the end of the day, you and I are the key. We have to be careful about the things that we do. Let me repeat that. We have to be careful about the things that we do and not just the things that exist for things to be true. I mean, the reality exists and there are so many things that are happening around. But guess what? At the end of it all, you and I, our grace should abound. You go into a room and everybody's talking about something bad. Do you also add to feelings that make you sad? Or are you talking about your heavenly dad? Are we so caught up in being the best in school or being that guy or girl that's cool? Or are we so caught up with being heavenly bound and asking the questions that are godly sound? Let's stop and think for a while. When last have I made somebody smile? I'm not talking about when you do a one flirt or you do a one dance and you call it dirt. I'm talking about something that has lasting value and has lasting worth. When last have our words made God happy? When last has our heavenly daddy been able to say, "Hast thou considered my servant?" Put your name right there. Or is it so bad that God is in fear? In fear of calling your name and you not coming out on top because you are not reading your Bible, or you start but then you stop, or you are praising and praying and then you flop and then you look back and you say. And so, I wrap by saying, it shouldn't just be about being prepared for a general meeting or being prepared for a church setting that's fleeting. We're supposed to be prepared for a heavenly home. We're supposed to be prepared for the long road. So instead of being like in an exam where we remember what we've studied or what we've swatted for, we need to be walking ready in this spiritual war. We hear about cults. We hear about accidents that make us wonder, make us ask questions like, why? But at the end of the day, we each have to live our own lives and we each have to daily die. We have to take into consideration the truth of what God said to do in order for us to truly be His book. My friends, this life is fleeting. Soon we'll all have to be called up in a heavenly meeting. But will God be happy with you, and will there be a greeting? Or will He say, bye-bye, and there is a departing? So as you focus on your schoolwork, focus on the things above. because you want to be remembered by God as one of his true loves. Not as an enemy. Not for him to run you and say, get to hell. You want to ensure that it is well.
I am Roxanne White, and we're here for another Take Care of Your Mental Health feature. No, sleep. Sleep. If I should do a survey, if I should have a conversation with most, if not all of you, and I ask, are you team no sleep or team need to sleep? There are some, I think most people will say team no sleep, and then you're going to have some persons who are like, I'll sleep when I'm dead and all that nonsense. But did you know that the level or the amount of sleep you get and the quality of sleep you get has an impact on your mental health? Yes, it really, really does. And I find that many university students with mental health not so 100, and that's because when I get enough sleep or the quality of our sleep is not enough. Why do we need sleep? All right, so the science of it is that we have some control centers in our body. We have our brain. We know that the brain controls pretty much everything. But then we also have this fancy thing called our circadian rhythm. It is our circadian rhythm that pretty much controls the behavioral functions of our body and the biological functions, yes. What happens is that when you sleep at night, when you go to sleep at night, your circadian rhythm needs to reset. Ideally, it is recommended that you go to your bed at the same time every day and wake up at the same time every day. But most of us don't do that because some nights we're pulling all-nighters, then another night we might go to bed early, and so the rhythm just really can't set. For it to be a very good rhythm, you ever listen to I would say something, but I'm not sure it eats us friendly, but there's some music that we like to listen to. Part of why I listen to it is because the rhythm set, it's set. I see a certain person doing a certain dance, but yeah, it's improving my mental health because I'm laughing inside. All right, but you need to get more sleep because when you sleep, your brain that does a lot of chemical work that allows you to think, focus, figure out what you're doing on those assignments, it needs an opportunity to rest because it gets really, really tired during the day, especially now with COVID, that we're not getting to do as many physical activities as we used to in terms of going outside, walking from Steps to Christ up to CAF, down to the gym, and we're just sitting behind devices all the time. It drains us a little bit faster than most of us realize. So you really need to be getting some sleep. My suggestion, I know it's easier said than done, but my suggestion is try to have a set time that you go to your bed. Now, that is going to require some planning on your part. So for all of you procrastinators, y'all need to stop. You need to have a set time when you do your assignments and decide that, okay, anywhere the work is at 10 o'clock, provided that it is not due at 11:59. Anywhere the work finish at 10 o'clock, you're going to stop at 10 o'clock, take about 15 minutes to half an hour to just relax and slow down. So by 10:30, you can go to your bed, right? And you need to get like 7 hours of sleep. Some people, like me, I need like 8-9 hours of sleep, and that's what I get most nights. And I'm burgundy jacket holder, I'm platinum honorary, it'll work. So I'm not telling you anything that doesn't work. Plan your time so you can get the right amount of sleep. Try to minimize the light. So get some dark curtains that you can use to block out the light from off the street and all of that so the quality of your sleep can be better. Because please, my DCS family, I really need you to take care of your mental health. So until next time, try to get some better sleep and more sleep.
In this camera.
Now, as you heard just now, That was Roxanne White, the burgundy jacket holder for the Department of Communication Studies, of course, for the academic year 2021-2022. And before was B. Sizzle with that grand poem. Now, Kibishi, you know, this program has been one of a kind thus far.
Yes.
Are you getting enough sleep?
That's a good question. Because I was about to ask you if your team no sleep or team need to sleep. But I'd say I'm on team need to sleep.
Yes, I would say that for myself too. I've been going to my bed for 9, so by 8:50, all the time from I was in about high school, I have to go to my bed.
Look at that.
Yeah, sleep be calling from 8:30. So
I want you all to drop in the chat if you are team no sleep or team need to sleep. I want to see who will. You know?
Since we are both team need to sleep, we need to maybe see some team no sleep.
Yeah. But going along without
any further ado.
Right. This general meeting wouldn't be a general meeting without the emphasis spotlight. And up first we have our journalism emphasis spotlight, after which we will have our television emphasis spotlight. Also, after which we will have Miss Patricia Grant. She is the special events and projects manager at the NCU Media Group. She's also a lecturer in her own department of communication studies, where she lectures PR courses. So, to the emphasis spotlights, and then Miss Grant, right to you.
Hi, welcome to another general meeting and October's edition of Emphasis Spotlight. I'm Aldria Anderson, your journalism major. Now, in light of recent events, I want to talk to you about news values and the news lead. Journalists have the very critical job of keeping society informed, and it is very important that this information is credible and accurate. So let's start with the news lead. What's the news lead? The who, what, when, why, where, and how. The 5 wives and the 1 husband. And when you read the first line of any article, this information, these elements of the news lead should just jump right out at you. It shouldn't be a case where you read the first line of an article and you're wondering, who did this or where did this happen? No. When you read the first line, the who, what, when, where, why, and how should jump right out at you. And now for news values. What are the values that make news what it is? Timeliness, right? Impact, oddity, prominence, currency, conflict, and proximity. There are 7 of them, but they don't all need to be in the story at the same time. But at least one of them needs to be included in the story, right? So while we develop our careers and our skills, let us remember the very important elements of news values and the news lead, which constitutes news writing.
Welcome back to another episode of Emphasis Spotlight. I am Janelle Henderson, and I will be your tour guide for the very exciting emphasis of television. So last week, we looked at lighting, and remember for this semester, we are discussing topics that can aid in creating content within our homes. So for this week, we'll be looking at shot angles and shot compositions. The importance of shot angles is that it adds perspective, and this makes your videos even more creative, and it has emotions that can connect with the viewers. So a question you might ask is, what composition do I use and when do I use it? Well, today we'll be looking at 9 basic shot angles or shot compositions that you can utilize in your videos. Let's take a look.
A wide shot is used to establish location and show surroundings. Medium shot.
This is usually from the waist up and it focuses on the subject's actions. Close-up. This is usually a head and shoulder shot and it shows facial expression. A detailed or extreme close-up is an intimate shot and it's extremely close and detailed. Low angle shot or worm's point of view. This shows the subject from a larger perspective and it shows power and authority. High angle or bird's point of view. This makes your subject look smaller and inferior. Over the shoulder shot is when two subjects are speaking and it's literally self-explanatory. The shot is taken over the shoulder. Point of view. This allows viewers to see through the subject's eyes. Cutaways or B-rolls. These are different shots, all related to the story that creatively interrupts your main shot.
And there you have it. Utilize these angles and you will see the difference it makes in storytelling in your videos. Really, you should really try these. Get creative with it, get into it, and I'm telling you it will add a difference to your storytelling in your videos. Once again, I am Janelle Henderson and this was Emphasis Spotlight, the television edition. Take care.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my mic was on mute. Thank you so much for the invite. It's always a pleasure being here, sharing with you my very own DCS. Now, let's get into the meat of the matter. Today, we're talking about personal branding. And my colleague, Janielle, would have shared with you a lot of the things that I'm going to be touching on to show you the importance of personal branding. And so I'm going to share my screen so that we can go through really quickly. But today, I want us to take a look at how you can define your personal brand while in university. And we look more specifically at from invisible to invaluable. Now, a lot of the times people think that you start developing your personal brand once you're out of university, because now while in university, you're focusing on getting the good grades so that you can evolve or you can just go out and get a job, right? But now is where it starts. It really starts when you're in university. And so we look at from invisible to invaluable. But what really is personal branding? And according to Forbes.com, it says it's the conscious and intentional effort to create and influence public perception of an individual by positioning them as an authority in their industry, elevating their credibility and differentiating themselves from the competition to ultimately advance their career, increase their circle of influence, and have a larger impact. I really, really like this definition, as I would have underlined some very important aspects of the definition. For example, a conscious and intentional effort. It means, therefore, that personal branding is not just something that happens overnight. It's not something that you just get up and it happens per chance. It's a deliberate effort to create and to influence public perception, meaning what people think about you. What is it that people think about you when they see you, when your name is called? And it positions you to in an authority in your industry. So if you're in television, if you are in radio, if you are in advertising or public relations, does your personal brand represent that? If someone should call your name, will your name be associated with your field of authority? All right. And so once you would have identified what the definition for personal branding is, you then go and ask the following questions. And I heard Janielle making mention of some of these things. Number one, am I really known for this? So I've been given a short window, and I want you to just take the time to ask yourselves these questions. What's the first question I want you to ask is, what is it that I'm known for? When people say Patricia, when people say Acacia, when people say Donna say, what is it that people know you for? All right? And once you've established what you think you're known for, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Am I really known for this? Am I a credible and authoritative source on the particular subject? Do I stand out against those who are known for the same thing? Do I stand out against my competitors? Will this benefit my career or my circle? What impact am I creating? Am I creating any impact? And last, but most importantly, is this how I want to be remembered? And I want you to be honest with yourself. Think about the things that you're known for, or you think people know you for. And if you're not sure, you can ask 5 of the persons who are closest to you. And once they would have shared with you, I want you to ask yourselves these questions. Now, building your brand in university. I'm going to share with you 6 tips that you can use to build your brand while in university. Tip number 1, ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered? How do I want to be remembered by my family and my friends? How do I want to be remembered by my peers and my colleagues? How do I want to be remembered at the end of an interview with an interviewer? Think about these things when you're thinking about your personal brand. Once you've done that, you can do what we call, a lot of us have been focusing on vision boards, right? It's important for you to write down your core values, the things that you're passionate about. Think about the things that you want to be known for. If someone should call your name, what is the one thing that you would want to be associated with? Also, think about your involvement while at university. Are you just scraping through and just focusing on good grades? Are you volunteering? Are you involved in extracurricular activities? What are the things that you are doing so that people will remember you? The second thing is, what skills do I bring to the table? What skills do I bring to the table? One of the things we always hear is that it's always good to be all-rounded. And yes, that's good. But you have to find your niche. Focus on one thing that you're good at and develop it. All right? So if you're good at, if your major is communication studies, and you are good at announcing, and you're good at engineering, and you're good at producing, find the one thing that you're really good at. So even if you're good at all of them, find the one thing that is your area of specialization and develop it. So that when people call your name, if I should say, I need an announcer, I must be able to call a name. I must be able to say Kibishi. If I say I need a producer, I must be able to say, hey, Acacia is the best producer. All right, so find that one thing that you're good at and develop it. Practice, nurture it, and get better at it. Think about the skills that you want to use to build your resume. When persons look at when you apply for a job, what are the things that are going to allow you to stand out against your peers, stand out against your competitors? Find a mentor. Even the greatest person that exists has a mentor. Somebody who would have already gone through the process, somebody who has experience in the area. Find a mentor and speak to that person, or find somebody who can be your role model. All right? Volunteer and get experience. I hear Miss Daly talking about the MAP program. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. We often hear of persons asking for experience for a job position, and we say, but I've just left university. Where can I get experience? You are able to get experience while at NCU. And one of the things that you are really lucky with is that DCS provides an avenue for you to get hands-on experience while at university. So experience is something that money can't buy. And it is, whether you want to believe it or not, what is going to set you apart from your competitors. And your fellow colleagues, your friends who you're having lunch with, your friends who you're having movie with, your study partners, they are your competition. They're the ones who are going to be applying for the same jobs. So volunteer and get the experience now. Don't wait until you leave university. All right. Number 3, establish your audience. There is a saying that says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So chances are, if you're spending time with 5 different people and all 5 of them are lagging with their assignments, you're that type of person. If you're spending time with the 5 closest people to you are people who are successful people, then chances are you are going to be successful. Create your inner circle and stick with it. The closest people to you will determine your success. And ask yourselves the following question. Don't just follow everyone on social media. Don't just follow your friends on social media. Follow persons of influence, persons who you can connect with, who can help you to be successful. And ask yourselves the following questions. Is your audience producing great results? Or are they just sitting down talking about people? Do they value people? Or do they just sit and talk about other people? Do they discuss people or do they discuss ideas? So you want to make sure that you establish not just an audience, but a healthy audience. All right. Tip number 4, start networking. So I know that networking can be really scary, but it's something that you're going to have to embrace one way or another. You have to learn to network. And now is the time to start networking. It's not always about who you know, but it's about who knows you. And so it's important for you to attend corporate mingles, webinars, conferences. And sometimes these webinars, to be honest, are not, they're boring, for want of a better term. Some of them are boring, but they are networking opportunities. And so you want to find yourselves at these events, not just parties or universal socials. You want to find yourselves in an environment where you can mix with people of influence, people who can put in a good word for you, people who can actually hire you. It is important for you to start networking now. Tip number 5, implement a healthy online presence, and not just an online presence, something that is very healthy. You want to make sure that you keep your social media clean. And I heard Janielle alluding to the fact that it is important that you be aware and be careful of what you post. I always say, if your grandmother can't see it, don't post it. All right. So make sure whatever it is that you're posting, it is something that if you're called up in an interview for, it is something that you're proud of. All right. And last but not least, live by your personal brand. All right. Your personal brand is not just online. It is a reflection of your personal and your professional journey. Plan your personal and professional goals and incorporate them in your personal branding strategy. Authenticity is key. So your social media represents you. Your brand identity is who you are. And if it is that you're not true to who you are, if you're online, your online audience may see one thing, but the persons who know you will see another thing. It is very important for you to be authentic. Don't be fake. We see a lot of social media platforms now, and we see a lot of persons portraying who they are not. Don't look at somebody else's social media and wish that you were like them. Set your goals, set professional goals, set personal goals, and align them to what you want to be remembered for. And when you think of your brand, remember what people say about you when you're not in the room. And we can't emphasize this enough because Danielle had made a mention of it. What do people say about you when you're not in the room? That is what personal branding is. And the personal branding is how you look, how you speak, how you act. That is what personal branding is. It is who you are. We are the CEOs of our own companies, me incorporated. Our most important job is not to be a professional, but to be head marketer for the brand called you. John Maxwell said, people will describe you in one sentence. It is important for you to pick that one sentence now. Don't wait until it is late. Don't wait until you leave university. Ask yourself, what are people saying about me when I leave the room? What is that one sentence that people say about me when I'm not in their presence? Whatever it is that I'm doing now, am I leaving a legacy? Is it something that I want to be remembered for? And at the end of the day, whatever it is that you do, always, always be authentic. Thank you so much for having me.
Hello DCS family and welcome to another episode of Emphasis Spotlight. I'm your presenter for the Public Relations Emphasis Terrain Right. So today I will be talking to you about a SWOT analysis. Now a SWOT analysis is a unique method that is used to assess 4 important areas of a business. Now these areas are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now strengths represents the things that a business does well. You can add further to say that the things that a business does well in a unique way. So in other words, that unique selling point that the business would have. Next, we have weaknesses. And weaknesses include all the internal downsides and the internal drawbacks that the business would possess. So for example, lack of resources or lack of staff could be a weakness that a business would have. Next, we have opportunities. Now, opportunities represents all the positive things that are happening in the sphere that the business is operating in that the business can capitalize on and would eventually benefit the business. Now, a specific example of this could be, let's say your company is involved in producing bread and there's a new technology in the market that would increase productivity by increasing output. So if your business capitalized on that technology, it would increase productivity as the technology would increase the output of bread. Next and last, we have threats. Now threats are the external factors that can negatively impact or affect the business. So another example would be your company is a farming company and there's a drought. That drought can cause crops to die, which in turn would affect the business in a negative way, as it would impact profit in a negative way. The drought is something that the business does not have any control over, but it can still impact the business in a negative light. So it's important that we assess these areas so that we can capitalize on our strengths and opportunities, we can improve our weaknesses, and we can put in place contingencies to mitigate the harm that will be done from the threats. My name is Terry Wright, and I thank you very much for watching.
Now that was rather interesting and informative as well, where it says that we should be be true to ourselves. We should be ourselves. Also, that we should have a mentor, someone that we look up to, the persons that we even follow, that they should be one who should teach us to be great. Now, we just want to thank Miss Grant for that wonderful and informative presentation.
And you know, I'm still holding on to that same sentence that Janiel had mentioned.
Yes.
Absolutely no one is in control of your brand but you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we're closing, before we close though, there is something new on our block. What's that?
That is the DCS song.
Yes, yes, and we'll take a look at that and be right back. Stay with us.
DCS, we are the best. We continue to strive for excellence. 3.5, nothing less. DCS, DCS, we are the best. DCS, we are the best. We are the best. Do we achieve media success at last?
That was DCS, we are the best.
It sounds more like a teaser, doesn't
yes,
it?
Yes, and I'm listen. I was enjoying the song so much, I started dirting, but that's okay. We're wrapping up. We're basically at the end of our show, Nicole, and to close
Sadly.
us, we have Miss Carrie-Ann Malcolm. But before that, though, just wanted to let everybody know that our next general meeting is November 30, 2021, also our Soul to Soul, which is Sabbath coming, November 13, 2021. Carrie-Ann Malcolm, take it away.
I close my eyes and I can see the world is waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Each special thing I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call me crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, gonna be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. We may be wrong, we may be right. Say that you'll bring me along to the place you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. A million dreams for the world we're gonna